I saw that it's tea at 4:45, so I'm sure this is, the graveyard shift. So I'll be very brief. Thank you first of all for inviting me to come this afternoon. We are a local charity in a place called Maindee, which is a district in Newport, and it's a Welsh. It's a corruption of a Welsh word. Newport's not the Welshest place in Wales, but throughout, because of sort of the English coming and messing around with Wales, they changed all the proper Welsh names and they sort of anglicised them. So Maindee is actually a corruption of Maindee, which means stone house. Maindee, probably T-Y is house, and D-Y can be house too. So Maindee is stone house. So at one point there was a sort of stone house there when it was exciting to have a stone house. All the other ones were made of mud, presumably, but there was a stone house. And it was farmland until the 19th century, and then Newport is an industrial town. It expanded hugely in the 19th century, and the west side of the river, which is where the old town was and the docks were and the old port and everything, it just wasn't big enough, and it began to expand over to the east. And so what was farmland started being terraced housing, and Maindee is one of the well-known historical areas of East Newport. And some years ago, there was an urban regeneration company in Newport called Newport Unlimited, which was a classic top-down, if we build it, they will come regeneration program that was all about infrastructure and roads and big buildings and all the rest of it. And when Maindee Unlimited, the charity, was being formed by a group of local organisations in the Maindee area, I was one of those organisations. We didn't have a name, we didn't know what to call ourselves, and so we jokingly called ourselves Maindee Unlimited as a sort of bottom-up organisation instead of this. It was a bit of a sort of two fingers in the air to Newport Unlimited, saying we're not like that at all. We're actually about people and relationships is what our organisation is about. And anyway, we couldn't think of a better name, so we're called Maindee Unlimited, and we are a proper organisation. Which one is it? Bottom?
Right or left.
Right or left? Okay, that's good. That's me. And just like the IEP have got a mission statement or a vision or whatever, we've got one of those too. So, yeah, we want to do something about a place that is quite neglected. Lots of areas in urban in cities get sort of left behind. They don't have any big social programs there. They haven't got a big, social landlord, or there's not a sort of clear anti-poverty scheme for them. And Maindee is one of those areas. It's lots of houses of multiple occupation, lots of very few social landlords. It's mainly owner-occupiers or HMOs. Still all the same little terraced houses that were built back in the day, in pretty poor condition now. Very few facilities, the least amount of open green space of anywhere in Newport. It's urban, very poor air quality. It's got the main railway line, London to Swansea, running right through it. It's got roads all over the place. It's not the most thoroughly deprived part of Newport, but it's suffering, and it's not sustainable at the moment. So that idea about how do you work, we're not government, we're not a big organisation, we're all volunteer. I'm a volunteer, we're all volunteers. So how do you actually change a place from within? And that's what we've been trying to do over the last 4 years. So that's a bit about us. That's you won't be able to see that map, but that wiggly line in the middle is the River Usk, which runs through the middle of Newport. And we're on the left-hand side at the moment. We're in West Newport now, here. But that bit, you see there's a sort of bit of an arc. We basically, we put a compass in a map, and we said this is the middle of Maindee. Let's draw a kilometre circle line around there. And we didn't want to be West Newport, we were strictly East Newport on the other side of the river. But that there, everything inside that circular line and the river is what we call our area of benefit. And that's what we're working to try to influence. There's about 10,000 resident population in there. Don't want to give you a load of stats, but we decided we would invent what Maindee was, because there's no natural boundary. The shaded blue area is a local authority ward called Victoria Ward. At one point there was a Maindee ward, but for political reasons to do with Lib Dem and Labour Party, it got changed because it was a political thing back in the day. Anyway, there's no Maindee ward. That's Victoria Ward, which is like our heartland, if you like. And right in the middle of it, just above the eye of Maindee, there's a little red triangle. That's where Maindee Library is. And that's where we've been running the library. The council closed the library quite soon after we'd set up the charity. And it was like, oh God, here we go, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. We were just trying to do something, and the library was on our list of assets. That was one of the good things in the area, one of the few good things, and then that got closed. So we thought, well, we're going to have to do something about that. So doing something about that has been a pretty busy thing for us over the last 3 or 4 years. It's been running for 3 years. We're open 4 days a week. We're entirely staffed with volunteers, apart from one person who was a volunteer who came to us and said, look, there's this Salvation Army got this scheme, they can give me a job. They can give me a job for 6 months. Have you got a job here for us? That was basically how it's happened, wasn't it? So we sort of made up a job. We said, all right, we'll make up a job for you. We checked out the scheme. You don't know this, Sam, but I checked you all out. I thought it looked okay. It looked okay, and the Salvation Army, I think, is like a quality badge of assurance as well. I've always thought that. So I thought, well, it's a Sally Army scheme. It's got to be okay. Anyway, I met Sam. She seemed all right, and in fact, it's been very good for us. What we did is we had a capital fund. We had a grant from the Arts Council of Wales to do a capital refurbishment of the building. It's a weird place to get the money from, but we've just finished quite a big capital refurbishment. And so we needed really somebody to do facilities management for us, somebody to develop our protocols around fire safety and our sort of access control protocols and all that sort of FM type stuff. And the guy who is actually working for us, that's his job for 6 months, is to develop the basic processes. To be honest, it's probably a little bit beyond him in terms of, it's asking a lot of skill for somebody who's never done that before. But he is doing that, he's sorting out the keys, getting in the key cupboard, doing the list of keys, working out the rules for that, how do you use the dishwasher, the rules for the dishwasher. We're working through that. And I did say I wasn't going to talk on at great length, so I won't do. But I would say this has been quite impressive for me. I've been an employer myself. I've had a long career in the health service, and I've managed, hundreds of staff and all the rest of it. I've never sort of been in the situation I've been in the library the last few years. And the scheme has been great for this guy. He's not the easiest guy in the world, but the scheme has been very flexible. It's addressed some of his broader needs beyond simple employability. And he does have, as Sam was saying about her client list, he does have complex needs. And it's interesting to see a scheme that's able to work across that level of complexity. It's quite lateral. So you can't read that, it's too small.